I forgot to actually hit the broadcast thing. I should be going live now. There we go. I think I just got the notification. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm live now. Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you on here.
We just got to get the bearings for how.
What?
So we just got to get the bearings for how delayed it is.
All right. What are you looking at on the screen? You can go back out. Go back out and look live and go back in.
Okay.
And it should like be at the most updated moment.
Okay, I don't see. It's just a black screen.
You see my mouse moving around in the circle
No.
on the screen, man?
Let me go out again and come back in.
My mouse should be moving.
Okay, I'm coming back in now.
If my mouse is invisible. I'm still trying to figure out how the streaming stuff works. Okay, I see it now on my screen.
I don't see the mouse moving.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, I see it moving now.
All right. I think so. I think we're relatively around the same area, the way it is on my phone.
Is your mouse still moving?
No, I just stopped.
Okay, it's still moving on my screen. Like a lot. Okay, it's still moving. We're just still moving. Okay, it stopped.
All right.
Okay, it's moving again. Are you moving it again?
No, it stopped.
Yeah, it looks like you're about to push. Well, you down. You low. You down low now. It stopped.
All right.
I'm not sure how far back we are. Are you also watching on your phone?
Yeah, I'm watching on my phone. I want to see. Tell me if you see the mouse move.
I don't see it yet.
All right.
Still don't see it. Still not moving. Okay, it's moving now.
All right.
Well, you just moved. You moved it up like once.
So the left.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I think that's as good as it's gonna get.
Okay.
All right. You want to do interest now?
Yeah.
All right. It's like the most unprofessional stream.
Well, that's okay. We just
Yeah.
that's nice when it's that way.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be authentic.
Yeah. All right. Hey, how's it going? It's Druck here again. We're back with another commentary video, and we thought the last one was pretty fun, so we wanted to do another one with another Grandmaster that we did in Destiny 2. And I'm once again here with my dad.
Student cat. Yep. Ready for another one. Insight Terminus. You know, it's funny. I, I realized because we're streaming, I had to say the proper name, but for years I'd always called it Inside Terminus.
Oh, Insight Terminus.
Yeah, Inside Terminus. Now I'm saying it's Inside Terminus. I wonder what it means.
I think people who played Destiny would probably know what you. Anyway, you know, what's the closest thing to insight, right?
Yeah.
But okay, so ready to get started with the video?
Yeah. Now, Insight Terminus is one of the older uh, Nightfalls, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember it came out early. Seemed like it's pretty early Destiny
I think
2.
that was like the beginning of Destiny 2 on Nessus, like old Nessus strike.
Yeah. And I got to be honest with you. I've never liked this one. It's not as bad as Corrupted, but I just never liked it because that silly dude at the end, you get to the end, he always did that disappearing stuff. You know, and this is one of the beginning of the end for Destiny, for me, in terms of respecting, because they always had these bosses that somehow either had uh, was there some bubble at the end, where they were protected. And you had to fight a bunch of minions,
Yeah.
and that was the whole fight. You fight them a little bit, then just when you do enough damage, they go high. Like what boss does that? I mean, can you
That's
imagine? Like
never really a straight up boss fight. Yeah.
yeah, because in most of these other games, can you imagine playing like Kratos is fighting some boss, and he's like, "Well, I'm gonna go hide, and I'll let my minions deal with you, Kratos." Come on.
Yeah.
You want
So
to explain what's happening at the beginning?
yeah. So right now we're just trying to pick off. So it's a lot about playing grandmasters is about trying to figure out different angles to take out, necessary enemies, because you can never really just run in and just run and gun everything, right? You gotta figure out these different angles to take out different targets, because otherwise they would just absolutely just destroy you. So what we're doing right now is we're trying to figure out different angles to take out these champions, these barrier champions. Is that's the main part. This part in this strike I remember being pretty slow. This is kind of like the slow part of this strike.
Yeah, and
Just
what?
killing ads.
Yeah, one thing we got to point out for those who saw the Light Blade um, Grandmaster. This one was one of the ones we did the season before, where Thrufker, also known as Cosmic, two-manned it, right? Because this was the year before we two-manned it and got the title. And then we the following year we were like, well, that two-man was kind of hard, so let's just get another guy. And we ended up getting Yuka. But so Yuka's not on this one. Um, and what I remember about this one, I can't remember if this was the second one or the third one we did that season. But I just remember thinking that this was one of the easier ones, because I remember it was sometime after we did Proving Grounds, which I think we should probably do a commentary for at some point. But that Proving Grounds was a beast that season. That was the hardest one that first year that we decided to do Grandmasters. And I remember by the time we got to this one, I had actually mastered uh, stasis, right? Because I had like multiple turrets out. I mean, I did enough outside of playing Grandmasters where I started looking at a lot of YouTube channels, and there are people who were telling you like how um, strong stasis was. And I remember during this period of time, this was when stasis was really a beast. Before, Bungie always nerf stuff.
Did they
And
nerf it? Did they nerf it? How did they nerf it?
well, it became weaker. I mean, I remember about it. Like some. I remember when I was able to throw so much turrets down, and then the strength of the turrets, I think, got modified where it wasn't as strong. You know, and I just remember playing. Um, I mean, it was a visual. I can remember seeing the guys be frozen, and then later on, if it was like void damage they wanted you to do or solar damage,
Yeah.
it just didn't seem like the stasis worked as much. But I remember when we first like playing Insight Terminus when we did this Grandmaster. To me, it just seemed like it didn't matter what other um, what else you had on. Like even if this was like say solar, um, where you had to do solar damage. For some reason, the stasis was just fucking them all up, just freezing them all, right? So anyway, that was just my memory of it. Maybe I'm having revisionist history, but I remember by the time we played the second year season where we decided to do a Grandmaster. You remember the one where we did like Glassway and Light Blade? the stasis just didn't seem to be as effective.
Hmm. All right.
All right,
So,
so what's going on here?
this is still more just kind of clearing out ads. This and the part where if you're not careful, they'll just melt you. But this isn't. This is kind of the part where it's kind of like the calm before the storm, because the part that comes up after this is where things kind of go really crazy. Because this was back when a lot of strikes were kind of just, they just had a lot of enemies that they threw at you. Like another one that was kind of like this was that Exodus crash, where they just threw a lot of just ads. It was a lot of busy work with taking out ads. So that's kind of how this strike is as well. It's just a lot of ad clearing. Picking your little pieces of cover to hide behind to pick out all these different ads, and you kind of got to pick out these different ads one by one and be very careful, especially like with the snipers, because snipers could basically two shot you. But you remember back in the day where the snipers it was a one shot kill.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
The snipers just instantly kill you, or they
yeah.
hit you.
And I really felt like the snipers was a one shot kill for me in this one because I wasn't as tanky as the Titan. Remember, because I was playing like Warlock, right?
Yeah,
And so from what I remember, I was really afraid to get hit at all by them snipers, right? And especially this next room we're about to go in,
yeah,
it was like if they literally did a lot of damage. I'm not gonna say they one shot killed you, but I will say that when they did damage, you really had to get it undercover fast because it might as well have been a one shot kill because the speed in which they shot at you was so fast. It might as well have been a one shot kill, right?
yeah. I just remembered that
What are we waiting
the
for
the
her?
I think you're waiting for something to regenerate, because I think you were trying to get your grenade to come back or something like that.
Oh, is this from my perspective
Which is
or yours?
no, this is my perspective.
Okay, yeah.
Well, which is a nice thing for me as a Titan. I had that. I think it was called the Heart of Inmost Light. So every time I was using my abilities, it was causing my abilities to come back quicker. So
Yeah.
at any given moment, I pretty much always had something that I could throw out there, whether if it was a barricade, a shield throw, or a grenade. I always had something, right?
Yeah.
And but I also wanted to point it out, this part right here where we have to stand inside those little circles.
Oh
That
yeah.
that that, that that's the most annoying thing when it comes to Grandmasters, especially when you have these melee type enemies coming out. Because these melee type enemies, some of them will just like if they hit you, it's just over. You
Well,
know?
this one right here, I think the strategy for me. I know you had your barrier, because it seemed like Titans are known for barriers and stuff, but and different types of barriers. But in this particular room, because we had this stupid unstoppable coming at us, I remember that stasis was invaluable because it gave us enough time, to get those little silly little ads out, and then we were able to do damage. Because I remember the first time we came through there, and it was like the master. It wasn't even the grandmaster, and it was hard as hell trying to kill those guys coming at you, especially when we came through here without stasis. And then when we decided, okay, well, I'm the warlock. I'll do stasis and the turrets, and I just freeze them
Yeah.
when they're coming through. I don't know why it always did that. When you come through this area, and
Wait.
it always stopped. It always stopped at level.
Here's the little hole that kills you if you don't slide through it right.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I remember when we were playing with Yuka. Yuka kept dying on that. I'm like, dude, can you slide?
In the
But
GM,
anyway,
everything does like so much damage to you at the GM. If you slide through that hole wrong,
yeah.
that radiolaria crap on the ground will kill you.
Now a lot of people probably who have never played this Insight Terminus don't know that all those edges are on that other side of that, behind that big old platform over there, that big old whatever that's called, that little uh, uh, I don't know what that's called, a pillar. Anyway, we had to stay back here and let them come to us. That's one thing I liked about Insight Terminus is this first area because it was kind of broken up into two areas. It's like this area was like this big old area where you had a bunch of ads come out, and then they had like a little river of electricity that you had to cross over to the other with a door to exit. And so we had to kill these ads first. Then we had to go over there and get the ball to bring it back over here to, I guess, to place it somewhere. And but the first strategy is to take these ads in this area out first. But we had to be real careful because these guys will melt you fast, especially doing Grandmaster. If you're wide if you're in the open, so a lot of it was just trying to hide behind that big old pillar and stick your head out, take your shots where you could. But the hard part is when dealing with this dumbass barrier because when you try to shoot him, the other ads kept fucking you up. So we had to make sure we took out the other ads first. Then it allowed us to take out that barrier. But this room was, I don't know, what's your opinion? In my opinion, this was the worst room. I mean, to me, this probably should have been like the end boss area where they had a big boss fight. Because I hated this area. And I think that once we got, I mean, this is just my opinion, but I felt like once we got past this area, then when we got to the next one, it was just a little bit easier for me, except for that one part when we had to take out that you're talking about that circle where you had to stand in a circle. In the next room after this, there's like three of them, and I always had trouble with the circle on the left side. And for some reason this evening.
You talking about the actual boss fight?
Yeah, yeah.
Because
But
the actual boss fight, every time the boss went up to that little shield thing, you had to stand in all three of those little circles in order to get him to come out. So you can fight
yeah,
him again. And the
yeah,
left one didn't have a lot of cover, and it was really easy to get overwhelmed by a lot of ads. Right?
yeah,
It's crazy. I never really realized, until we started talking about it, I never really realized how a lot of this strike is quite literally just clearing ads.
yeah. It is.
A lot of it's just, you go to the next spot, you fight a bunch of ads. You go to the next spot, you fight a bunch of ads. You know,
Yeah,
and
but you
then
notice how I have two turrets out right now. I could never do that in the second season. I could only throw one turret at a time. I don't know what they did, but it's just really pissed me off that they changed. Maybe I gotta go back and read up on it. But I remember when we played Glassway and I was doing the turrets. I was throwing the turrets out. I could never throw more than one turret at a time. But this one, I was throwing man. I was constantly throwing those turrets out, right? So I can't imagine what it would have been like if we had played where they somehow made some nerf to the frequency of throwing the turrets because it would have took us forever to get past this part, right?
mm,
Anyway, I think did you go flawless on this one?
did I?
Cause I remember when I died right there. I was so pissed. It was like I couldn't. I saw it was a guy to the right that got me, and I didn't see his ass. And it pissed me off. But I was so thankful because a lot of times with these grandmasters, once one person go down, then the other person is really exposed, and they go down fast. So I was glad that you took your patience instead of just continuing to try to take them out. Your first order of business was to get me up.
Well, I was gonna say in Grandmaster, if you play like you almost have no health at all it really comes down to is like decision making,
Yeah,
right? Because like if you're playing with that in mind that any given moment you could like just flat out be killed, then you're going to start making more strategic moves, and you're going to make the movements that are gonna better your survivability and your overall team because you're not going out there. like you usually would do in Destiny content, all willy nilly, like just running around, throwing grenades, shooting people, and rushing down ads and stuff. Because this almost kind of, I would say, like in a way, it almost kind of feels like you're like you're less of a superpowered being because getting shot really hurts, right? You're less of a superpowered being. You're more like a normal person, almost kind of like a Call of Duty character, almost like literally just like a couple shots could push you down, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Now these guys with these fucking what are the cleavers? Well, I hated these
Yeah,
motherfuckers. Man, they were really fun. They especially in that next room, the last room.
I
Oh
think
god,
I
they
think
were.
they could one shot you, right?
Yeah, they pretty much could. Yeah,
I
and
think I think I think it was an instant kill, right? I think if they
yeah.
hit you.
Now this is what I was talking about earlier, where you got to go across that river of electricity to come over here, and I think there's these two like little uh, areas where you got like little lights coming from them, like looking like little uh, I don't know what they call, like boxes that had some balls in them, and we had to get both of them and take them across the area. So you're about to get the first one, and then carry it over there, and then we got to go back and get the second one. But when you get the first one, then we got another bunch of ads to deal with. Then we kill them out. Then you got to go get the second one. Then we got, then it's just a bunch of ads, man. That's all it is, right? You know. Oh, do I have the ball or do you have the ball? Yo, so we gotta go get this ball that dropped, and then we gotta take it back over there and put it in one of
Put it in the
those.
thing,
Yeah,
and then you gotta do like one more time, which means we gotta fight another slew of ads again.
yeah.
That's why I'm getting back into position and getting ready to fight all these dudes.
You know, the first time we ever played this, it's Insight Terminus.
Yeah,
Uh, I didn't know what was going on. Of course, you always are very observant with this kind of stuff, right? You definitely look to see what the hell's going on, right? Every one you describe it later and that stuff. I mean, to me, I just go in and I just see a bunch of shit happening, and I'm trying to shoot something. I'm not even understanding that we're supposed to get the balls. I'm just shooting stuff, right? But the Grandmaster forces you to learn the strategy and the what you're supposed to do, like the objective, right? Because a lot of times with Destiny, look at me, died again. I can't believe that shit. But anyway, with Destiny, I never really focused too much on the objective, right? I'm just kind of like just going with the flow. I always just let you handle that stuff. You just kind of took the lead on it, and it wasn't once we got to the Grand Masters, I realized that part of the Grand Masters you really had to have a different strategy than you normally do for the normal Nightfall. So I ended up having to become more of a strategist. So I had to focus on the real objectives and where how we were going to achieve those. And sometimes it was unorthodox, like the way you deal with it, right? Like for example, when we played the normal, we were out there mixing it up with them. We were fucking them up. We were throwing, in supers when we could. And I was always stationed on the very far left up, left facing the area what we're facing now. I would always go up there. There's a little platform up there, and I would just hang up there. And then you would do your be more in the middle area where that little pillar is. But with the Grand Masters, I remember this part of the strategy. We had to stay back. We just basically had to stay back and just take our time by taking one enemy at a time out and using the stasis to slow them up from shooting with us as basically like a gang shooting at us, right? So that's one thing I remember about that. And the other thing is that I remembered is being a little bit intimidated when you had all of these. They had an unstoppable and a barrier, and it seemed like a bunch of them. And then realizing, man, that's fucking stasis really fucked them up, and that neutralized them a bit. And once we got those, in terms of what I was thinking about strategizing for this particular room during the Grandmaster, is to take them champions out as fast as we can, and then we just deal with the other ads, and then the back room deal with those cleaver guys.
Yeah.
So what are you thinking at this point? Do you remember? Are you just like
The thing is, I don't. There's not really a whole lot of like thinking.
it's just
You
shoot
know,
and kill?
yeah, it's kind of like just clockwork stuff. It's not like okay, like because like a person could go through like thousands of different thoughts in one moment, right? But that's not for me. It was kind of like you do enough of these things, you just zone in, you focus, and you kind of just go through the motions. It's not like there's not really a whole lot other than just remembering the steps that come next. There's not really a whole lot of thinking more than that you do, right? It's kind of just your focus, and then you're just zoned in on one thing. Now that's something I kind of acquired. Like I think when I first kind of acquired that, it's a weird feeling. Like it's a really weird feeling. If you're self aware about it, if you're very self aware about it, it's a really weird feeling. Because I don't want to say like it's mind numbing. I mean sometimes doing these things over and over and over and over and over again because you fail so many attempts. Sometimes it can feel a little numbing, like where first you kind of start out like you're frustrated, and then you're kind of like well that's not true. That's not that true. First you kind of start out like okay, let's get this thing done, and you might even feel a little excited about it because it's kind of like it's kind of like a journey almost. It's a little like a journey. Just as a gamer, just purely speaking on a gamer from a gamer perspective of playing video games and doing challenges and stuff, it kind of feels like a challenging journey as a gamer, right? But sometimes when you do these things so many times and you just do them over and over and over again, because you fail sometimes. You don't make it the first time. You don't make it the second time. Sometimes you don't make it until like your 100th attempt. And by that time, it's like you're still dedicated to it. You still are trying to complete it. But at that point, it's like you're kind of numbed down. Like you don't really feel anything anymore. Like you don't feel angry, upset, but you certainly do feel joy when you complete it. But just through the process of it, it's just you're so focused that emotions really isn't a factor anymore, right? Of
Well,
course, when stupid stuff happens, yeah, sure, every once in a while you might get a rise, like if a bug happens or if an ad does some stupid crap they weren't supposed to do, then yeah, so sometimes you're like, oh, what the hell, But I feel like while you're in the process of taking out ads and then remembering what comes next and how you handle that and what you're gonna do or the next section and stuff. For me, it was kind of like I was just zoned in, you know.
well, I understand what you say. I definitely agree with it. I think I have a little bit of a different perspective uh, on this because my role was a little bit different, I think, than yours. I mean, you was an enforcer. You would just wipe fuckers out and that kind of thing. But I do think that when I think about it, uh, this was a kind of map where you can hide behind things and then take certain enemies out on certain areas of the map and then kind of move to the next section of the map, then take enemies out, then go to the next section of the map and take enemies out, and then rinse and repeat. That's what how I feel like Insight Terminus was, right? It is our Insight Terminus was, right?
Yeah.
But when it came to like Glassway and Lightblade, because you were constantly moving from one area. I mean, it's like it was so unpredictable where you were going to be, right? Even if you try to map it out and say, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. Some of it was because I guess there's a certain other person to play with us. We he had some unpredictability to him that resulted in us to kind of change what we were doing. But I remember when we played Glassway and Light Blade. It wasn't one of those uh, where you got to that last section where you take care of this section, then go take care of this area. I mean, like when you were aggroed, what's that dude's name in Light Black? We just
Cool.
yeah, out of crew. When you aggroed him, uh, you never knew. You didn't even know. It was like you try to stay in a certain area, but sometimes he would just run and just chase me or chase Yuka, And then you had to adjust. We had to make some adjustment. Like if I went down or you went down, it was just a lot of adjustments. And this one is like whenever we went down, you was basically just right next to me, or if I went down, I was right next to you, right? We could just get each other up, right? And I think a lot of this grandmasters are very similar to Insight Terminus, where you just got certain sections, and you can kind of manipulate it a little bit more. But with Glassway, the reason why I'm bringing that up in terms of emotions, and the reason why I think we got so frustrated with Glassway and Light Blade is because a lot of it you couldn't really control that much. It was so much out of your control, and you had to rely on your gaming ability. I mean, you had to you had to rely on your experience of playing games over the years, and particularly if you knew Destiny and how Destiny worked, you just had to rely on that experience, right? You couldn't be inexperienced and deal with it because you could tell by because when you think about when we played with Yuka and how he was always kind of being in a situation where he was unfamiliar with it and he ended up like kind of like dying a lot, and when he was in a situation where he had to kind of be impromptu and not just methodically deal with an area like you do in this one, you could tell he just kept going. He was just inexperienced. But you and I, even though we were in the same situation, we just had been doing it so much that once we got into a situation that got us out of our strategy, we were able to deal with it. It was just kind of like you waiting to get your super back in Light Blade. I mean that nobody predicted that. It was so unpredictable. But your gaming experience, and as many times as we had played that, and we made it to the end, and we had to make some adjustments. It just kind of came into play at the end, right? Where this one is like if you look at what we're doing now, we're clearing the first ads, and we're gonna shoot this fool, right? The boss, and then we're gonna go capture these plates, right? And we know it always is. What is it? Is it the middle plate first, and then the left plate, and then the right plate, and then the middle plate again? Is that how I can't remember exactly what it was.
I can't really remember either. Yeah, but yeah, this is I remember because the ads didn't stop spawning in here, right? They just kept spawning, right?
Yeah, it kept it's constant.
Yeah.
But I gotta tell you that to me, this room went how you control those cleavers, because those cleavers came after you. The cleavers and the dogs.
Yeah.
The dogs weren't too bad, but all the other ants just kind of stayed back and shut. They didn't really. To me, they didn't really do too much, especially when you went to the back of the room. But those cleavers were they were so tanky, and you just had to you just. Do you remember that? I mean, it's like we had these ads. The terrorists were doing their jobs, But I was always scared as hell of those cleavers, right?
Yeah.
And this is another area I hate about this. I remember when we did this is you had to. So I hate this about Destiny. It's like you fighting this fucker. Why the hell is he going up in there? He gets, we do enough damage, and then he goes up into some fucking bubble or something.
Yeah.
Well, what the hell is he thinking when he's up there? I guess this guy got to be like, ain't this some shit? I'm trying to fuck these motherfuckers up, and they put me on a bench. Like if this is football and basketball, he like, oh man, he's out there, he slammed, he tried to jam, he tried to shoot a 3-pointer, and then they take me out of the game and put me on the bench and put these other fuckers in. That's how I would look at it.
But man, is it the he hasn't gone back up there yet, has he?
No, but he's about to because I see where
He's on
his
2/3.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was the boss, one of the bosses that didn't have a whole lot of health, at least compared to some others, right?
Yeah.
Because the boss from what is it, Inverted Spire? Is that what it's called? That boss didn't have a whole lot of health at all. Like that
Inverted Spire.
Died,
oh, that's yeah.
Quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another old strike, Destiny 2 strike. But yeah, that boss died pretty quick. But this boss has more health than that one, obviously. But I would say like Improving Grounds. I'm pretty sure the boss Improving Grounds had more health.
Oh yeah, he was a motherfucker. That Proving Ground. I had a terrible time. This is the third time I died. I usually don't die that much.
I think I died at the beginning.
Did you? I don't remember you doing that.
I'm pretty sure I died at the beginning.
Oh, okay. I thought you flawless this motherfucker.
Nah. Yeah.
Now this little purple stuff when he shot, it shoots you. It that's the worst because it shoots you up in the air and it makes you so vulnerable, right? Because you really go up high, right?
So I was more worried about the fire that it leaves behind.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that killed you. That instant. Well, I won't say it instant kill you, but
it does a tick damage on you.
I'm surprised there's not that many ads out there. It was just him, huh?
Well, I mean, the ads for the most part, until he actually goes up into the little bowl thing or whatever, the ads for the most part weren't really hard to kill. They were kind of just like little ones, like little ads. Like anything that was like a yellow bar or a red bar wasn't that hard to kill. Like if it was like a legionnaire guy or whatever, if it was a dog, it's because there were a few exceptions to that rule. Like the cleaver guys had a little bit more health, and of course the champions always have a lot of health. Man, I hate them champions because sometimes them champions they don't stun. Sometimes, like when they're supposed to, especially them overloads. I don't think there was any overloads in here though, right? It was just barriers and unstoppables, right?
Well, you know what I remember about this one is are there champions in this last fight, this boss fight?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out why there were some champions and some grandmasters at the end, and there wasn't in others. I mean, it's just kind of weird.
I kind of feel like the Grandmasters kind of remind me of Bullet Hell.
What does that mean?
Bullet Hell is like it's a type of game, like where I think there's a game called Enter the Gungeon. It's a Bullet Hell game where it's basically like you fight like a big guy or a bunch of enemies that are constantly shooting at you, and you kind of have to try to dodge and weave through like thousands of different bullets at you. And ordinarily, as a first-person shooter game where you have like defense and regenerating health and stuff like that, ordinarily in Destiny, I wouldn't consider it a bullet hell, but the reason why I'm
No,
considering it a
those
bullet
cleavers coming
hell,
out. Yeah.
yeah, the reason why I'm considering it a bullet hell in like Grandmasters is because it's like they the all those constant shots and grenades and crap that they shoot at you, all of a sudden just feels like 1,000 times more dangerous, right? And you just don't want to get hit by any of it because any of it could kill you
Oh, that's
at
nice
any
bubble.
moment.
Yeah.
What?
That's a nice that you put that bubble down like that.
Oh yeah. Well, I was trying to remember if there was a reason why I went void on a lot of these, and I was trying to because when we started doing Grandmasters a lot, I was trying to remember if Solar 3.0 was out or not. I know at some point I also had an arc, and also I had arc out. I know for the one we just did commentary on, I was actually an arc hunter for arc 3.0, and I know at one of these I did Solar. I did Solar 3.0 kind of thing, with all that radiant regeneration stuff it gives you. But I'm trying to remember. I think it was probably because like the
No, I think I remember.
the Void Titans have a lot of protection stuff that can it's kind of support kind of stuff. You know,
Oh, that,
the Defender Titan kind of. I had
yeah.
that Defender Titan kind of set up. So every time I put a barricade down, not only was just just a normal barricade, but it also gave you an extra overshield.
Yeah.
You gave you and your nearby allies that purple kind of aura that you see every once in a while on my arms, and you see it every time I emote to look over a corner or something like that. Which is why if anybody's wondering why I'm constantly emoting every once in a while, is because when you emote, that puts you in third person, and it helps. It makes it easier for you to see over walls and corners without actually putting your guy out there in danger.
Okay. So
Yeah.
now I see it. We're at that middle one. To me, this was the easiest one because all that really required us is go behind this barrier, and then we could just shoot. I hated to be on the left one because once the enemies came out, we had to go to the right and just kind of get behind this barrier. We realized this barrier, the one that you were just behind, that ended up really saving our ass a lot because, like I was saying, other than the cleavers and the dogs, they really didn't come fuck with you back here, right?
Yeah,
And
just
that's
shoot a bunch
why,
of grenades and crap.
yeah, the area we just saw where the button had all the buttons, see, there go the dog. See, they come after you, right? So, and they were easy, especially with stasis, because that controlled them. But those other guys, those void shield guys, they just stay back there. They don't really fuck with you. And so that's why on the right side with the circle and the left circle, you're a little bit more vulnerable because you're out in the open, and that's why it was hard. That's why I love. That's another thing. Like you've been a titan and having a shield right there, to the extent that it could be a barrier. That was good. What just jumped at you?
It's illegal.
Oh, I was like, what the fuck was that? You just kind of ignored him. Like you ain't shit. Get the fuck. he had to be embarrassed. He said he coming to fuck you up, and you just kind of ignored him. Like, then you went and finished him. No, I heard you cleaver. Oh my god, I hate these fucking cleavers, boy.
Yeah.
Cause I remember when we first played this, and we had to kind of work our way up to it by practicing playing like masters first. We played normal masters and then got into the grandmaster.
Which I honestly don't feel like masters are great practice because they're significantly easier than grandmasters.
They are easier, but it allows you to understand the map more though.
Yeah.
Especially when it came back to the mechanics of it, because it didn't really change that. All it does is this: they went up 2.0 in terms of like making it more intense, but the enemies, certain enemies, just still did the same thing. Like I said, the dogs came after you, the cleavers came after you. It's just there was more of them, right? Or they were stronger. So one, if we hide behind a barrier in the normal one in the master, then you still hide behind a barrier in the grandmaster. It's just you have to be fat. You got to be more. At some point, you can't just stay there. You have to move around. And earlier when I was talking about like the different types of grandmasters, where where you have to be a little bit more impromptu in your strategy than just methodical.
Yeah.
Uh, I said it, but as I look at this, the only part where we have to get to moving and we never know what's going. It's like chaos. Is when the cleavers come out. Then once you get the you notice that because once you get the
Yeah.
cleavers and the dogs out, it's just staying back here. It's rinse and repeat. But doing that, I would say like 2 minutes of chaos from these fucking cleavers because it's like about what, 8 or 9 cleavers come out, maybe like 10 dogs. Uh, the stasis can neutralize them a little bit, but I wouldn't think. But still, you still got to move, right? The other thing I was gonna say is you talk about like you are a lot of the void a lot. You also have to remember that sometimes it depends on the shields we have to deal with, right? Because I remember sometimes
Sometimes, yeah.
yeah, because I like if I had to go into solar or and that's why I was saying the comment I made earlier in the first season, stasis was uh like class proof, right? It didn't. I mean, I want to say class. I mean, it was uh you know what do you call it? Like what is void, solar, and arc? What is that? What is that called?
Void
Damage?
soul. The elemental damage.
Yeah. So stasis became elemental proof, right? Because it didn't matter whether they were void or arc or whatever. It's still frozen, right?
Yeah.
Even the if it was a void shield, it still froze their ass, right? But I felt like uh, the second season we played it. I don't know if it's something changed. It's just because we got to the point where a lot like at least 3 of the grandmasters we did, I didn't even do stasis, right? I had to get out of it.
Yeah. I was also gonna say, Void Titan is pretty good for damage as well. I mean, every class had those volatile and weak spot grenade stuff. Where
Yeah,
you throw a void grenade on some enemies and you can do critical damage no matter where you shot them. And if you kill the enemy, they also had that thing where you get volatile rounds where you shoot an enemy, you'll build up that volatile status effect on them, and then they would blow up and they would hit other ads around them. But the reason why the Titan was so great, because I was talking about the whole defense thing, like giving more survivability to your teammates. On top of that, there's also weapons of light. So when you popped your bubble, you got that weapons of light as well.
yeah,
You know, I, I, I sounded like it was pretty helpful. Because that's the thing with I even remember with solar. Usually, if I was running solar on my Titan, it was there was a whole lowly splendor setup where anytime you got low health, it would drop a sunspot, and if you stood in the sunspot, it would activate radiance, and radiance would regenerate your health like really really quickly, right? So you basically had like a regeneration build kind of thing going on,
yeah,
and it made your survivability was really really good because anytime somebody puts you in like critical health, it would pop that sunspot. Even if you didn't put your barricade down or whatever, you would get that sunspot, and then you would just automatically regenerate your health, right? Really really quickly, right? The problem with that is that's it's nice, it's very nice, but it's really only beneficial to that one singular person who's using it, because like a sunspot doesn't really help my teammates. It helped me, but it didn't really help my teammates. And it was like when it came down to because like you could put that with the hard and most light, you could put your barricades down pretty quick, especially if you had max resilience. Because that resilience on the Titan, you got your barricade back quick because it was a class ability, and Titan scaled with resilience, where like each class scales with a different attribute, right? So I would tend to have like max resilience on. That's why my barricade comes back really really quick. Spam my barricade, my other abilities would come back really quick because I heard of most light. So I almost always had that overshield going, and I almost always had a barricade out.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, you got to learn how to do it. It's like when you play Grandmasters, and you just say you're new to Destiny, you're not gonna know any of this shit. It's like even if you level up and do everything you're supposed to, and you gotta take the time to maybe say you don't have somebody else to play with you, you gotta go out there and get. I can't imagine something like being new to Destiny. You're a solo player, and then you gotta go get somebody to help you, right? And because this is not like Grandmasters is not like what you call it where you go get players you know what I'm talking about like it randomly picks play. Yeah, it's not matchmaking. You gotta go get and you gotta be able to play together. You gotta know your role. You gotta be able to, because some of these players want to be out there. The guy who shoots kills everything. They want to be the Michael Jordan of the Destiny, right?
Yeah.
And you can't. You got to realize what your role is. Like even me I know what my skill set is. I know my skill set is a role player, right? I know that, But I also know I'm a leader. I know I can strategize. I know I study it. I say, well, let's do this. So I do the stuff where the unsung stuff, like it doesn't come across as like if you look at it from my perspective. I killed a few guys here, but I'm constantly not killing guys because I'm throwing down turrets. I mean, you can't just be shooting all your different weapons and throw down turrets at the same time. You know what I'm saying? You gotta always do that, and you always gotta be looking at the map. You gotta be looking at where the enemies are. You gotta be telling your teammates, okay, well, we need to move over here. We need to go over there. We need to, and then kind of get people in a position, right? It's a lot to think about in terms of like when you're dealing with a lot of what Destiny enemies are bringing to you, right? And it's the more people you have, the harder it is to help your other teammates navigate through it unless they know what their role is, right? So you knew what your role was. You knew, and everything you were just saying about like regenerating this and regenerating that and emoting and looking around and helping all that. That stuff had to be learned behavior. I mean, you had to learn how to do that, right? And but that's the thing. It's like if you don't know it and you coming in and you just playing for the first time, it must seem like something like a grandmaster is impossible, right? You know what I mean? And now we did it, and now he's just the only one left. All we have to do is just kill this. Oh no! This enemy, yeah, I forgot. These enemies constantly spawning, aren't they?
Yeah.
But the good thing about it is the cleavers are not out. They only come out, and the dogs only come out at a certain time. So now it's just taking the enemies out, taking the void guys out, and then occasionally taking a shot at him, being very careful. But we don't have to worry because once we got to this spot, we knew we had this because it's just rinse and repeat.
Yeah, I'm gonna. All right. So on my computer, the video just finished. I'm just gonna play it back from the beginning.
Okay.
Because we're still gonna have to. We're still talking, right?
Yeah.
All right. I'm just gonna set it back so we could just have it playing in the background while we have our final thoughts. Right.
Yeah, because mine is still. I'm still. What I'm looking at, I'm still okay. Yeah, we just killed him, fucker. And by the way, this stupid shit that you get, like you always get this gun, is what, like some adept gun. Well, and it was never fucking good.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's like it's the thing about the whole. randomized loot stuff. Although I kind of feel like as time has gone on in Destiny, God rolls have kind of. I mean, they had that whole weapon crafting stuff that kind of trivialized God rolls because now you can pretty much just craft anything, right? And it's like you don't necessarily have to have a gun that is DF, DFA. I mean, it can be like now you have like God roll Oddstringers that you could just craft, and as long as you have everything you need to craft it, you can just make a God roll. You don't need to go out and farm for God rolls anymore, right? And
Yeah.
it's kind of like it kind of brings me back to the beginning of Destiny 2, where weapons didn't have random rolls on it. Like
Yeah.
all weapons, their rolls were the same all the time,
Yeah.
right? So it kind of just like, well, you just had to know what the good guns were, and then you just had to do those activities to get the drop. Like Midnight Coupe, for example. Midnight Coupe was the one of the best hand cannons in the game back in like D1. I mean D2 year one, right? And you had to play Leviathan Raid to get it. And if you got the hand cannon, then you were pretty much set. You didn't need to get any other hand cannon. You know,
Yeah.
it was like you didn't need to worry about going to farm for another role. And I remember that being a huge problem back in that time of Destiny 2, because people wanted something to farm for, right?
Yeah.
And now, okay, they make random rolls again. And like, oh great, now we could farm for God rolls again, right?
Yeah.
Because hardcore Destiny players, they're always farming for stuff, right? If you're a little bit more casual, you probably get burnt out on it, farming for stuff. You're like, what, I'll just try again next week or something like that. But for hardcore players, man, they're constantly grinding for stuff, right? And that's what hardcore players wanted. They wanted something to farm for. You fast forward some years later, and now you can just craft, you can just make stuff. So now I kind of feel like we're back at the same old problem of, well, what's the point of farming for God rolls if you could just make a God roll? You know?
Is it still like that now? Because we haven't really messed with Destiny in about a year.
Actually, last time I heard about it, what was kind of controversial about it is they now allow you to, like, those battle passes, because oh man, we all love battle passes, right?
Yeah.
They made it where you can basically like buy out the entire battle pass, so you don't have to grind for it. And people were calling that pay to win. This happened like after we quit playing Destiny. So
Yeah.
that that's what's going on right now. I don't know if they changed it since. I don't know what it was like because we weren't there. But they're saying that deep site crafting stuff, you got that from completing different sections in the battle pass. So being able to create god rolls was part of like completing that battle pass. And because the people who could just throw money at it and like have their battle pass just be bought out like from the start, they were instantly, like from the get-go, able to create god rolls for anything that they got, right? And they were saying, well, okay, well, if you can throw money at the game and that allowed you to get god rolls, that's kind of pay to win, right? Because you know how a lot of
Pay to
Destiny
win.
is about
I don't understand
having
what is
good rolls on your guns, right? Like whoever has like the whole complaint about PvP, right? Like I remember when that way back when we had stuff like Colony and Lord of the what's it called, Lord of the Wolves and crap. Like a gun could literally just make or break things. Because remember when everybody used to run around with like Luna's Howl and stuff? That hand cannon would just absolutely destroy people.
Yeah.
And then we had Recluse, and then we had so like guns, like PvP's always been broken. Let's just be honest, PvP's been broken like crazy.
Well, I want to say something about that pay to play thing.
Pay to win.
Pay to win thing. It's just so frustrating, and I think it's disgusting. And to me, if a gaming company gonna do that, I wouldn't fuck with that gaming company that much. I would just stop playing that game because it's elitist. I mean, what if you don't have money? What if you just don't, like say you don't have the means, the financial means You know, it's like not everybody, because I grew up really poor, right? Just to be able to afford a base game was a miracle for me. You know, if way when I was like you know, when I was a teenager and living with grandma and grandpa, right? And they didn't have a lot of money to give me to buy games, and so what? There's people like that, So now if you got a little bit of money, uh, disposable money, like you could just go and buy whatever the fuck you want, and then you get ahead, and then if you don't have money, you gotta grind. You gotta do this silly ass grinding and hope you get the weapon, right? Hope you get so you're not gonna seasonal artifact crap. You got that shit took a long time. Cause I remember, how you you had to play the game a lot to progress through it. And I remember like you never really gave a fuck about progressing through it, so you never really did it that much until I guess unless you had to. But I would always like, I was obviously more into Destiny than you were, so I would go there and not do the grinding, and
I
I'd
mean,
be up at
anybody could
midnight.
have. If we're gonna be honest, anybody could have been into Destiny more than me. I didn't like the game. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, you didn't, but what my point is that I did the artifact stuff, I did the grinding, I did all that, and it took time, and so I liked the game, so I didn't mind that much because I at least gave me something to do, right? But can you imagine if you don't want to do it because the gameplay is redundant, right? You got to do the shit over again, over and over again. And there was sometimes where it's like you're doing strikes that you did like a zillion times. Sometimes you did whatever gameplay it is, right? So you can progress through it, right? It's just a lot, right? And I just think that's unfair. There's just because somebody got some money, they could just buy it and get like a gun, get like those things that helped you level up. Because remember, there was I don't remember the specifics of it, but there was these like little items that you needed to help your character get stronger, and sometimes you didn't have them in abundance, so you had to, and there's only certain ways you could get them, and you couldn't just go buy them, right? So you had to play the game to get them, the amount you need to do any significant growth, right? So so you telling me that they got it now where somebody could just pay for that whole seasonal thing, but by having an extra money, so you pay for the base cost, and then you pay a little bit of extra, so you can get for the seasonal shit to increase your power level, or whatever the fucking level is called, and somebody else who don't have the money can't do that. I don't know. I just think that that's bullshit. You know, it's an elitist attitude. And it's a money grab, and that's one of the reasons why I got sick of this. Playing Destiny. But anyway,
Yeah.
um, so are you ready for the final thoughts on this
Yeah,
insight?
I mean, like we can rant, yeah, because you know me. I mean, we've had endless conversations about how I feel about Destiny. So I mean, I can harp on Destiny forever, right? About just things I don't like, things that they've done I thought was very predatory, things that were very egregious. We could dive way back into into this Destiny and Bungie's dark history that goes way back into Destiny One, right? I remember everything, right? Because you and I were there year one D1, right? Since
Yeah,
beta, right? So we lived through up 'cause we everything we've been sticking with Destiny all the way up till but just before Lightfall came out,
yeah,
right? So we've been all the way up until Lightfall, we've been there for everything, for every little BS thing, every little trash thing that they've done, every stupid decision they've made. You know,
Yeah.
we've been through everything up until that point, right? Because it was at that point where we were just like, we can't do this anymore. You
Yeah.
know, and there was even people who fell off way before we did. And I remember a YouTuber, um, what's his name? You know what I'm talking about. Um, he made a video. He made a whole dedicated video talking about how he doesn't believe in this game anymore, right? Because he did a lot of videos. Was it Rifle Gaming?
I don't know.
I
I
think it
can't
was
remember
Rifle. I
his
think
name.
that's his name,
Yeah.
Rifle Gaming. I remember
Yeah.
watching Rifle Gaming a lot when I was younger. I gotta check up on his channel and see how he's doing. But I remember he used to make a lot of Destiny videos. Like way back in Destiny 1, he was making Destiny videos. And I remember when he made the video, because like it was like, I think we were still in like year 1 or year 2 of Destiny 2. And he just made a video. He said, in good faith, I can't recommend this game to anybody. I gotta quit. Right. And I just sat there thinking, damn, how I feel like that right now, you know? And that was a long time ago when that happened, you know. And I look back and I look back. I can go into YouTube right now and just look at all the people who used to make videos on Destiny just aren't there anymore, right? I mean, we still have a few of them left. Like we still got Cactus. We still have like Across. You know, I recognize, but a lot of them, like so many of them, like you could go, oh my god, it's not even the same anymore. The community is so different now. You know, it's unrecognizable. You know, like I remember way back in Destiny 1, all the whole vibe, just because of people who had channels and were making stuff on Destiny, were just, they were all different people, right? And now today, you look at it and nobody's the same. You know, it's a so many people left this game. It's crazy to me.
Well,
You know,
the way I look at it, I don't blame people. I mean, if people are into the game and for whatever reason, I mean, because not everybody got like a lot of money to be changing games and going from game to game. I mean, it's like you kind of commit. Sometimes you just get a little money. You heard some good stuff about it, and whatever, however you evaluate it, and then you play it, and then you know there's the good, the bad, the ugly, but. That's all subjective, right? You know, like you know, what you don't like about it, because there's some things you didn't like about it that I didn't really bother me, and then there's some things that I didn't like about it that didn't really you really didn't give 2 cents. You just someone call you a hater on the game. I'm kind of one of those where. I gotta admit, I played it for a lot of years. I played a lot. I put a lot of time and sweat in this Destiny. There was some stuff I really enjoyed about it. You know, because I just put a lot of hours in it. It's just some stuff that I just couldn't take anymore. Like the when it got closer to the end, and they started doing this seasonal bullshit content where you go play and it's time gated. You play a little bit of something this week, and then you gotta wait till next week, and then you go play something, and then and it was something like a story mission,
you talk about
and then
the practice of drip fed content.
yeah, it just turned into something different. I mean, I just got sick of it, right? You know, because look, if you got a DLC out and you play it, and they give you some good content, or they give you bad content, like say it depends on whatever it is, either it's good or bad, whatever. And you judge it. Sometimes they had good stuff, like what like uh, I can't think of some of the games. Like you know what I'm talking about. What's the one where you fought Crota's father? What was it called? Nightfall.
Taken King.
Yeah, Taken King. And then they had some other shit, which just I just thought was terrible DLCs, right? But then all of a sudden it went from DLCs to the seasonal shit. I mean, it's like what the fuck is it? It was so fucking bad. I'd rather have just played the DLC and then moved on, played Donkey Kong or something else until another DLC came out. rather than have this seasonal bullshit and then this money grab and all this. It just came. It was a joke because they didn't even tell you what the fucking you got for it. Like I remember that one where you got what was those the glaves, the glaive or whatever it's called, and man, I remember that was some trash season. That was some trash season. But you had these YouTubers. Some of them, that was it was kind of I don't want to knock YouTubers. They got opinions, and you got to hope that there's some honor and respect and some decency in what they're trying to do when they want to recommend something or don't recommend. The ones who are full of shit, I think people eventually know who they are. But in terms of somebody who, like some little 12-year-old who loves Destiny and wants to play that and just and can play it over and over again. Because I remember when you were younger, you would play games over and over and over and over. I'm like, hey, how many times you gonna play this game? And that's just what kids do, right? They don't even care. It's just like, because when I was younger, I'm so old that we never had anything like Destiny. I mean, if Destiny had existed when I was younger, I don't really worry about the politics of it. I don't really worry about when people screwing you over money. If you had the money to get it, and say I had the money to get it, I wouldn't even cared. I would just love playing Destiny. I could play it over and over again. I could do Nightfall. I could do this Insight Terminus over and over and over again, because that's just the kind of mindset you have when you're younger, right? You just kind of like free willy, be wary? No worries, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But being a mature adult and caring about what the purpose for these gaming companies to want you to purchase their content, and when you realize you're getting some, like for example, if it's like you buy a Coke, you buy a Coke and you drink it for the first time, it's like, oh man, this is the best Coke I ever had. But then when they start watering it down, and it's not Coke anymore. They have these different brands. That's not even from Coke company, right? But it's called like Coca-Cola or Coke, and it's supposed to be similar to Coke, but you drink it, and it's like, man, this tastes like trash, and when gaming companies who start out a certain way, giving you really put in the content and really giving you a good game, like say Elden Ring or God of War, and you play it, and you're like, man, this is a really good game. This is really the content. They took time with it. I'm getting what I pay. I'm getting more than what I paid for, right? And the content is replayable. But it takes forever for me to get to a game. Then if I replay it, it takes forever for me to get to that game. That again, and you get faster at it the more you play it. But it's still a lot of content, right? And then they come out with a DLC that's, like say God of War recently came out with a DLC, and it's very good, right? But then you play Destiny, and then they got trash that Bungie started taking away. Like there was content that I really love playing. That there was the one on what was that place called? The Tango Shore. And that one of the strikes. I love that strike, right? And they took that fucking strike out the game, right? Because a lot of the content on Tango Shore, and all of a sudden you can't play it no more. All of certain strikes you used to play in Destiny 2, you can't play anymore. And it's like, we paid for that. How are you gonna take that out? We paid for that. We were promised a game. We got sold it. We purchased it, and now you're telling us we can't even play that anymore. That's the stuff that I'm talking about. So if that doesn't bother somebody else because their opinion is they doesn't matter to them and they got other content they want to play and they love to see, and that's up to them. If you got a YouTuber who wants to sell that shit and say, oh, that's good and all that well, that's up to them. it got to the point where me, a long time Destiny fan, who was not like a hater like you on Destiny, I just got to the point where I'm like, I started becoming a hater.
See, hold
I,
on. You called me a hater, but every time, like, yeah, okay, I hate on the game, but everything I say is valid.
well, I'm teasing you a little bit, but some of it I do think that you were hating on it. Sometimes, I mean, like I remember when we played certain. This is just me, my opinion. I say there were some things you said it was valid, and I do think there's some things you said that I think was valid from your own opinion. That's just your opinion. You entitled to it. I just disagree, right? I felt like they did, and that's okay. I mean, we could agree to disagree. My main point is that even you got to agree whether it's valid or not that you were a little bit of a hater because you every time
Okay,
you gotta admit it every time.
but I did admit when I thought something was good though. Remember,
Well,
I said I thought Forsaken was the peak of Destiny, and if they continue going in this direction, then I think I might like Destiny, right? Because they
yeah,
actually came out with a lot of content that I did like, and I gave them some props on that. I also gave them some props on Witch Queen. I said the story in Witch Queen was great, and I thought that campaign that they had was fun, right? I said that too, right?
yeah,
Unfortunately, they didn't go in that direction, so
yeah,
everything I said is valid. So,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
I don't think every.
I remember playing Blind Well. I remember playing Blind Well, hell of a Blind Well. I love Blind Well, right? I remember every dungeon that they came out with, I enjoyed. Except for, I would say, I liked the first dungeon. This is the reason why I'm pointing on the first dungeon is because it's something that deviates a little bit. Is I like every single dungeon they came out with. Um, every dungeon, literally every dungeon, right? The reason why I'm pointing out the first dungeon is I liked the first dungeon. I just didn't like that I couldn't see in the first dungeon, right?
Well, yeah, and like I said, we can agree to disagree. I'm labeling you as a bit of a Bungie realist. In terms of what your opinion and some of it, I grew to agree with you later. But I do, the reason why I label you like a Destiny hater is because I kind of feel like the positive comments that you had about any feature of the game was wasn't a lot. I mean, it wasn't a lot, and you didn't hear it a lot. It wasn't frequent, a lot of times you just hear. Man, fuck this game, this trash game. And you played it because Dad wanted you to play it. Well, that's fine. Let's just be real, you know. And I grew to hate. Like right now, I'm a Destiny hater. I don't mind having that label. I'm owning up to that. It's just the way the state of the game is now, and I'm not the only one. It's people that, like you were talking about. Was it Gunner guy? What's his name? The one you just mentioned, Rifle Gaming. You said that he I'm not I don't know. I haven't heard his opinion. I don't know if I can label it as hating on it, but he just it gets to the point where people see something about the game and they just over the years decided that they just couldn't be down with it, right? I held in there until, and this is no secret. Well, it is a secret for people who don't know who the fuck I am. This is listen to this stream. But what killed it for me is that duality dungeon, right? When Bryce Yuka, who barely played the game, got that damn sword out of the duality, and you and I played duality every week for weeks, and you never got that sword, right? I was like, that killed it for me. I just could not respect this game, and we did everything. Remember how you had to do extra stuff to make it more like
we did that crap that like every time you did it, you got like a 10% like extra chance of getting the sword to drop for you. We did all that crap to increase the chance of the sword dropping. He didn't do any of it, and he got the sword to drop. And you also got the sword to drop for you twice.
Oh yeah, it dropped for me twice, and it was ridiculous. And that's what I see when I say, and I'm not saying like hating or not hating, but that's why I could understand about your opinion of the game, that kind of shit. But the other stuff like like the game mechanic, the shooting, the stuff like I played Trials of Osiris, and I made it work for me because I died a lot in Trials of Osiris. I was not good at Trials of Osiris. I did like it that they still rewarded me because it allowed for me to make some progress where I could get. I didn't get the adept stuff, but I did get the weapons and I got the armors and I got to look like a Trials player, right? Previous to that, they didn't allow. There was no way you could do that. You didn't really get an experience of Trials. And because they made that modification to the gameplay, where I could get in there and as a solo player, and I could play with some randoms, and if I killed 50 guys or I got like what was it, like 10 wins or something like that, I was able to get stuff right. But before it's like you got to get like 7 fucking in a row and. And you really couldn't get any of the gear, it just made it very difficult for you to be able to get it. So that part I liked, but if you got somebody who no matter what says like, fuck this, I don't care about all that other shit, then that's okay too, But I do think that we can have a separate like stream where we just vent on Destiny, but I think right now we probably should wrap it up on this particular. It turned into something else. But so this is my final thoughts, right? I enjoyed this one only because the stress of it wasn't as much as I thought it was going to be. It's not one of the ones where you think about like what's easy. I'm not saying it's easy. I do think that a lot of it is just ad clearing and just basically you have to be in a position where you know what you got to do and do it. I hate the part that where this food, what's it called? What they call this guy? Technocrat, whatever the hell his name. Who is this guy? Anyway, I hate it when he goes up into the bubble, right? And then you got the cleavers come out and the dogs and all that. I just think that it would have been nice if he had stayed out, even with the cleavers and everything, if we had to continue to be able to do damage to him to make it get it out faster, so we didn't make this thing slower. To me, like hell, even if they just got to the point where maybe they don't have dogs, but they just have cleavers out, but keep him out and have him a little bit more take care. I would have preferred that, right? In terms of the doing this, I was never afraid of this because this was nothing. This one was nothing like Proven Ground. Was it Proven Grounds? Proven Grounds was a fucking beast, boy. Is this the right one I'm talking about? Anyway, that was hard as hell, oh, man. And you really think about it, it's kind of similar.
Do you mean Proven Grounds, Lightblade, Corrupted?
Proven Proven Grounds the one where we
it's
did
the Cabal
where.
one.
Yeah, the Cabal. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The Cabal. To me, the Cabal was hard like Glassway and Lightblade. I mean, but that first season, like the season we did this one, I
feel like if you're talking about everything about Lightblade except for the boss fight, yeah, I don't think anything's gonna top that boss fight in Lightblade. That Lightblade boss fight is some mother, like, you know what I mean?
Well, I also thought Proven. I mean, in terms of the most difficult. I'm just saying, in terms of the top 3 difficult ones. I didn't feel like this one was anywhere near the Proven Grounds, Glassway, and the Light Blade. That was a corrupt. Well, I guess I got to put Corrupted in there too. But Corrupted was ended up. It was just. I don't know if you had to do the whole thing and you didn't glitch through it.
It's the most tedious one.
Yeah, it's just and it's hard to do a 2-man, right? But with this one, like I said, I didn't think it was that difficult. I did. I really enjoyed playing it. And when we got it, you could tell how we act, how difficult it is, and we're jumping up and down saying, "Oh yeah, motherfucker, yeah!" My son is motherfucking clutch, all this kind of stuff, right? You know that was a motherfucking beast to do, right? This one we was kind of like, okay, we got it down. What did you get it to depth? Oh yeah, I got it. It wasn't really like that exciting, right, to beat it because I didn't really feel like it was that hard. It was just a tedious fucking chore. But tedious is not, in my mind, equals difficulty, right?
Just
Anyway,
take
what's your final
patience.
thought?
It's just take patience. I don't really have much, anything else to say.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's some thoughts on Destiny and some commentary over Insight Terminus. What's it called? Insight Terminus.
Yeah.
Commentary Insight Terminus Grandmaster from Destiny 2, and yeah. So it's Duskir and Dead.
Yep. And Suit and Cat, over and out.
Yeah. Yep. See you. Oh crap! I'm messing up. All right. See you.